My ex-husband told me I was finished the day he left me for a woman half my age. For 3 years, I believed him, until a 34-year-old stranger looked at me and reminded me I was still alive. This is the dangerous truth about what happened when I stopped being appropriate and started being honest. I was 59 years old, and I'd never felt more invisible. Then a 34-year-old artist looked at me like I was the only thing in the room worth seeing, and I became more visible than I could handle. His career, my reputation, both our futures. One of us was going to have to sacrifice everything. The question was, which one? And could we survive it? My name is Catherine Winters. Everyone calls me Kate. I own one of New York's most respected contemporary art galleries. Or I did. 3 months ago, I got the call every gallery owner dreads. My accountant, voice tight, "Kate, we need to talk about cash flow. If things don't change in the next quarter, we're looking at closure." 25 years, built from nothing, and it was slipping through my fingers. The art market had shifted. Post-pandemic, collectors were cautious. Sales were down 40%. I'd taken out loans to stay afloat. They were coming due. I was drowning slowly, professionally, watching everything I'd built crumble. This gallery wasn't just my business, it was my identity, my proof that I mattered, that I was more than what my ex-husband said I was when he left. Michael. We'd been married 30 years when he walked out. I was 56, she was 32. His assistant. Original, right? But it wasn't just that he left, it was what he said when he left. "You're still beautiful for your age, Kate, but she makes me feel young. She makes me feel like there's still possibility. With you, everything feels settled, finished." Translation, you're done. Past your prime, your best years are behind you. I stayed with you out of obligation, not desire. That broke something in me I didn't know could break. Not my heart, I'd stopped loving him years before. My sense of self. My belief that I was still a woman worth wanting. For months after, I felt invisible, like I'd aged out of relevance, like the world had quietly decided I no longer mattered in that particular way. Then I got angry, rebuilt myself, made the gallery even better, took lovers when I wanted them. I wasn't dead, whatever Michael thought. Successful men my age who bought me dinner and took me to bed. Charming younger men who pursued me at openings, who seemed genuinely attracted. I'm not invisible. I know this. I have a good body. I work for it. Strong legs, curves in the right places. Gray hair I don't dye because it's beautiful. A face that shows I've lived and I'm not apologizing for it. Men still want me. That's not the problem. The problem is, I don't want them back. Not really. Sex became recreational. A good meal, a good wine, a good release. Pleasant, forgettable. None of them moved me. None of them made me feel anything beyond surface satisfaction. And I was fine with that. I'd had great love once, great passion. I didn't need it again. I had my work. That was enough. Except my work was failing, and I was running out of time. That's when the offer came. The Metropolitan Museum was launching a new contemporary wing. They wanted an established gallery to partner with, curate shows, provide expertise, share resources. It was prestigious, it was lucrative, it would save me. There was just one condition. I'd be working under their new curator, a 42-year-old wunderkind they'd poached from the Tate. I'd be subordinate. After 25 years of running my own operation, I'd be taking orders from someone younger, less experienced, but more relevant in their eyes. My pride said no. My bank account said yes. I had 60 days to decide. And then, 3 weeks into those 60 days, Daniel Pierce submitted his portfolio, and everything got infinitely more complicated. It was a Thursday morning. My assistant Emma brought coffee and pulled up her tablet. "You need to look at this submission." I was barely listening, reviewing the day's schedule. We got dozens of submissions weekly. Most were derivative, uninspired. Added to the pile. "Kate, look at this one." Something in her voice made me look up. She showed me the screen. a digital portfolio from an artist I'd never heard of, Daniel Pierce, Brooklyn-based. No formal training, no representation. Works as a bartender. I was about to dismiss it. Then I saw the first image. It stopped me cold. A painting, large canvas, oil, bold strokes. Two figures, abstracted but unmistakably human. They weren't touching, but the space between them vibrated with tension. It was about desire, raw, aching, visceral desire. Not the act itself, but the moment before, the wanting, the almost. I stared at it, felt something shift in my chest, an unfamiliar tightness. Who is this? Emma checked the submission. Daniel Pierce, 34, lives in Bushwick, no gallery representation. Says he's been painting for 10 years but never shown. What else is in the portfolio? She scrolled. Each painting better than the last. All about longing, about bodies in space, about the physics of wanting. Technically brilliant, but also visceral. They made me feel something, made my pulse quicken in a way I didn't want to examine. Set up a studio visit. Really? He's completely unknown. I know. Set it up anyway. That night, alone in my apartment, I did something I knew I shouldn't. I pulled up his portfolio again, studied each painting, let myself sink into them. One image held me. Two hands reaching toward each other, fingertips inches apart. The negative space between them was charged, electric. You could almost see the pull, the ache. I closed my laptop, poured wine, tried to focus on the financial projections I was supposed to be reviewing, opened the laptop again, looked at the painting of the hands, studied it, felt something low in my belly, a warmth, a tightness, want. Not intellectual appreciation, physical want. I closed the laptop again. This was absurd. He was an artist, a talented one. That's all this was, professional interest. Except I couldn't stop thinking about those paintings, about hands almost touching, about the moment before. The studio visit was set for Friday afternoon. I dressed carefully. Black pants, silk blouse, fitted blazer. Professional. Elegant. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. Except I changed the blouse twice and added perfume I usually didn't wear during work hours. The address was in Bushwick, industrial building, converted artist studios. I climbed 3 flights, found his unit. The door was cracked open. I could hear music inside, something low, instrumental. I knocked. Come in. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The studio was small, chaotic in the way creative spaces are. Canvases everywhere, some finished, some in progress. Paint-splattered floors. The smell thick. Oil paint, turpentine, something organic underneath. Late afternoon light streamed through large industrial windows, catching dust motes in the air. And then he turned around. Daniel Pierce was beautiful. That was the first thing I registered. Objectively, undeniably beautiful. Tall, at least 6'2", lean but muscular, the kind of body that comes from physical work, not gym routines. Dark hair falling into darker eyes, sharp jaw shadowed with stubble, cheekbones that could cut glass, full mouth. He was wearing jeans worn soft and low on narrow hips, a white t-shirt streaked with paint, bare feet. The t-shirt clung to broad shoulders, strong arms. I could see the definition of muscle underneath, the way his body moved when he turned. But it wasn't just that he was beautiful. It was something else, something I couldn't name. A pull, an awareness, like the air pressure in the room had changed. He wiped his hands on a rag, long fingers, paint-stained, elegant, even covered in color. Ms. Winters. He came forward, extending his hand. His voice was deeper than I expected, warm. Thank you for coming. I still can't believe you actually came. I took his hand. His palm was warm, slightly rough from brushwork, strong. Our hands pressed together, and something happened. A spark, a current. My breath caught, so subtle I don't think he noticed, but I felt it. The contact radiated up my arm, spread through my chest. We held the handshake a beat too long. I pulled away first, unsettled. "Call me Kate. Thank you for seeing me on short notice." He smiled, quick, genuine, transforming his face from handsome to devastating. "Are you kidding? You're Catherine Winters. I've followed your gallery for years. Having you here is—" He stopped himself, almost shy. "Sorry, I'm rambling. Let me show you the work." He led me deeper into the studio. I followed, hyper-aware of him in ways I shouldn't be. The breadth of his shoulders, the way he moved, fluid, unself-conscious, the paint stains on his hands when he gestured, the sound of his voice. I told myself I was being ridiculous. This was professional. But something in my body wasn't listening. My pulse had quickened. My skin felt too warm. That low tightness in my belly was back, more insistent. Then I saw the paintings, and everything else fell away. They were even better in person. Massive canvases, bold work, technically masterful. But more than that, they were about something, about longing, about desire, about the unbearable tension of wanting. I walked through them slowly, saying nothing, letting myself feel them. He watched me, nervous, hands shoved in his pockets. I could feel his eyes on me. It made my skin prickle with awareness. I stopped in front of the largest canvas. Two figures, abstracted but unmistakably human, the space between them shimmering with tension. Not touching, but pulled toward each other like magnets fighting their own force. The painting made my chest tight, made me remember what wanting felt like. Real wanting, not recreational interest, but ache. "You paint longing," I said quietly. He came to stand beside me, close enough that I caught his scent, paint and clean sweat, and something underneath I couldn't name, something that made me want to lean closer. "I paint the moment before," he said. His voice had dropped, intimate. The wanting. That split second before you touch someone you've been craving. The anticipation. That's more powerful than the touch itself sometimes. That's where the real feeling lives. I turned to look at him. He was already looking at me. Not at the painting. At me. His eyes were dark, intense, searching my face like he was trying to memorize it, like I was something worth studying. The air between us thickened. I was suddenly, acutely aware of everything, how close he was standing, the warmth of his body, the way his chest rose and fell when he breathed, the paint streaks on his forearms where his sleeves were pushed up, the curve of his mouth. Something in my stomach clenched. Heat spread through me, low, insistent, undeniable. This wasn't professional appreciation. This was want, physical, visceral want. And I hadn't felt it, really felt it, in so long, I'd almost forgotten what it was like. I stepped back, put professional distance between us. "Your work is remarkable." My voice was steadier than I felt. "Thank you." He was still looking at me that way, like I'd surprised him, like he was trying to figure something out. "I'd like to include you in a group show I'm curating," I said, forcing my brain back online. "Emerging artists. It opens in 6 weeks." His face lit up. "Seriously?" "I don't make offers I'm not serious about." He ran a hand through his hair, boyish and charming. "Thank you, really. This is huge for me. This could change everything. Your work deserves to be seen." I was already moving toward the door. I needed to leave, needed air, needed space to think about what had just happened in my body. "Bring your best 3 pieces to the gallery next Tuesday. We'll discuss pricing and placement." "Kate?" I turned at the door. He'd followed me, was standing closer than I expected. "Thank you. Really. I know I keep saying that, but—" He extended his hand again. I shouldn't take it. I took it. That same electric current, stronger this time. His fingers wrapped around mine, warm and strong. I looked up. He was taller than I'd realized. I had to tilt my head back. Our eyes met, held. Something passed between us, unspoken, undeniable. I pulled my hand away. "See you Tuesday, Daniel." I walked to my car on legs that felt unsteady. Got in, sat in the driver's seat, not moving. My heart was racing. My hands were shaking slightly. My body was humming with something I didn't want to name. What the hell was that? I'd met attractive men before. I'd been attracted to men before. This was different. This was unsettling, in a way that wasn't entirely unwelcome, like something dormant had woken up, something I'd thought was safely asleep. I drove home in a daze, trying to categorize what I'd felt. Professional excitement about his talent. That's what it was. He was extraordinary. His work could be important. That's why my pulse had quickened. That's why I couldn't stop thinking about the way he'd looked at me. That's why my body still felt warm, charged, awake, in a way it hadn't been in years. Professional excitement, nothing more. Except I knew I was lying to myself, and I had no idea what to do about it. Is Kate making the mistake of a lifetime? Subscribe to Quietly True to see what happens when she walks into his studio in the next episode.